Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. This is my review for the large-scale Dino Fury Megazord. So this is not the combining one that has individual Zords, which is on the horizon very soon. As of this recording, it's starting to pop up on online places, and I'm keeping an eye out for it. But this is the large-scale, already put together, with less details one that's just sort of meant to be more fun, basically for kids. And as you can tell, it's a much larger scale. Just to give you, I mean, you can tell just by the review station, I'm looking up at it, but just so you can get an idea for the size, there's its feet. No, but here is a Dino Fury red figure right here. And the one positive about this is it's a little bit more of an accurate scale for those that are into that, of like a Ranger standing next to the Megazord. Not perfect, but a little bit better than your standard one, but that's kind of your idea for how big it is. But basically, it's, well, very basic. I mean, it just has the basic detail it needs to. It doesn't really have a lot of paint. It's more about the colors of the plastic, but it's honestly not too bad for what it's supposed to be. Like, you can see it just kind of hits all the generic details. There's not a lot of like intricate detail within the Zords themselves. You can see there's lots of intricate sculpting there, but it's just not really painted. But to be fair, there's not a lot of detail on these Zords to begin with, but for what this is for, which is basically just a giant fun Zord for kids, I think it pulls it off, you know, honestly fine, and it's not too bad, better than I was expecting, to be honest. Like, right up there, I would say around the tips here is where it has the less detail, that it looks the most noticeable and cheap, and then of course you have this cheap gray plastic that I don't like. Again, that's to be expected for this toy. If this was the deluxe one, or something billing as higher, or a collector's thing, then it would bother me, but I always think that gray plastic looks cheap regardless. But it does have little bits of articulation, which is nice. You have rotation here on the arms, and these actually rotate as well, which give it a little bit of personality. And you can also rotate the waist, which is nice. And a bonus for me is you can rotate the head, which I think is really cool. I bring that up in a lot of figure reviews and Megazord reviews, that just so much as the head articulation, being able to rotate, I think gives it a little bit of personality. Like, just being able to do those little things gives it a little bit of personality, and I really like that about that. I think it's kind of neat that it includes that, because usually these are just stiff, like it's literally like you're buying kind of a Nutcracker figure, kind of like those famed Nutcracker figures where they don't do anything, but I like that this one actually has a little bit of movement. As far as just putting it together, the only thing you have to do is snap the T-Rex head on and then snap the feet on. The feet are actually a little bit difficult to get on, which is kind of annoying. I would recommend like flipping it upside down and then pressing it from the bottom, because I don't know, maybe it's just mine, but they were just a little bit annoying to get to. And I'll show the back real quick too. Check that out, that's the best part. But obviously it's very holy, not like, you know, in an angelic way, but there's lots of holes back there and then the blank space here. You could store some stuff there though. Look, this is what it's for. I'm just kidding. But that's, again, to be expected for this type of release. They kind of cut corners on it, and this isn't the type of collector's release where you'd expect everything to be painted. I never know why people get so hung up on that anyway, because it's not like a lot of people are displaying it like this. But overall, there's not a whole lot to say about this thing, honestly. I mean, do I recommend it? I think kids will get a kick out of this, because it's a really large-scale Megazord. I think it looks actually kind of cool like that, and I think kids will really love it, which is the main target audience for this particular release. I mean, the Dino Fury line in general is a kid's line. Of course, collectors are going to buy it, but there are certain releases like this that are even more so meant for the kids, and so I think kids will enjoy this. However, it's actually not that bad. I don't think the proportions are the greatest, like if we're talking about collectors here. It does look kind of nice, but like the proportions on the neck seem a little bit funny, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, if you really like this and you wanted something kind of cool and big for your display, you could maybe even paint this if you're the type of person that likes to customize figures, and I could see it looking actually kind of cool in the back of a display if you wanted to paint it or not. It's honestly not that bad. It's not a must-have, but it's a neat release for kids, and maybe with some custom work can be actually kind of a neat, larger-scale Megazord release. But nothing to write home about. I would say kind of middle of the ground. I feel like this is something that fans are gonna like really hate on, but for what it's supposed to be, it's just fine. But that's about it for this one, guys. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for our videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.